Today we're going to rebuild this Suntour Litech. It's kind of like the brother to the Mountech, except we don't have that giant pulley. So yeah, some tools you're going to need are some pliers, a pick, a screwdriver, and some Allen keys, and a 9mm wrench or a socket. All right, so we got that out of the way. First thing we're gonna do, you're gonna loosen up this spring right here because it has another pivot. So yeah, we gotta pull this back, and there's a little screw right here. Just grab it and unscrew it. Okay, so my screw right here was already stripped, as you can tell. It's not coming out, so we can just pop this cap off and it'll come apart. That way it's just gonna be a little bit more, it's just gonna spring out at you and a little bit more difficult to remove. This cover comes off like so. Okay, now since we couldn't unscrew this little screw right here, we have to pop the spring off. Otherwise you could have just unscrewed this. This would have springed back and you could take off the spring easily, but you can't do that. So this is gonna spring out on me very fast. So I gotta just get this spring. You wanna pop it over here. There you go, pops out. Hopefully we can get the spring back on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We just pop it off. Come on. Like that. And now you can take off this pulley. You can do this before or after you take off the spring. What you want to do, ideally, you want to grab some needle nose pliers. These are the best for this. And you want to really push down and unscrew this little pin. I already loosened it up, so there you go. And now this shaft here is actually, you can actually take it off, which is surprising. I'm gonna take off the other V-spring here because it's kind of in the way. And yeah, I'm gonna unscrew this pin. I'm just gonna spring back. There we go. Now we just unscrew that bolt. And now right here, as you can tell, there's a little wedge, and you want to grab a magnetic tray like this. You want to grab your pick and kind of nudge it out. Hopefully you have one of these. If you don't, it's kind of a bummer, but yeah, this essentially keeps those two jaws from closing in on each other and stripping that bolt. So you want to pull it out, make sure you don't lose it. Come on. Kind of just pops out like that. There you go. Now this thing just comes apart. There you go. And this thing just stays on here, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I try to put the spring on here and I try to put the cap on, tension it right up in here. Take this off, but it wasn't coming off, so we can just leave it. As long as it spins fine, we'll just clean this up and oil it back up. It should be all good. All right, now moving on to the P-knuckle. Pretty simple. All you do is just grab your pliers right here, and you want your 6mm bolt on the other side. There we go. And yeah, this bolt has two little tiny washers on it. Sometimes it's one. Take them off, put them in a magnetic tray. And now there we go. Now we got everything all nice and taken apart. Now it's time to clean. For this, you can use a cleaner or a degreaser. You can use like brake cleaner, acetone, alcohol. You can also use like a wire brush or a brass brush to clean off the rust and dirt. And yeah, make sure to stay away from the plastic parts and like the logo with the brake cleaner or other harsh cleaners and stuff. And in my case, I'm using this ultrasonic cleaner. All I'm using is water and dish soap. All right, now we got everything all nice and cleaned down. Now it's time to reassemble. Also for some of the chrome parts, I use this quick glow stuff. And another thing you're gonna need is grease. There we go. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, just grease up the inside of this area with some strand butter. You wanna get on the ridges on the outside, the inside as well. You can grab your bolt, wanna grease that up as well a little bit. 2 washers, those thin ones, it could be 1, they're always missing. Pop them on, like so. And stick the bolts in. Now we have the little nut on the back and just screw it on. There you go. And you just want it just snug, you don't want it too tight. Okay, so now we're gonna do the B-knuckle spring right here. This one, the one that connects with this little plastic slider thing. You wanna get some oil in here. You wanna make sure this is moving nice and smooth. And yeah, so for grease, just grease it up, that little flange area with the plastic cover rides. And then right here, you wanna grease it up. Ideally, you wanna get like a tube of grease. Which really helps it push it down in between all the little blades. Stops it from rusting and that kind of stuff. So yeah, now you want to just pop it on. There's really only one way you can do it. You want to do it like this, about 180 degrees away. First, you want to pop it in here. And then you want to make sure this thing lines up with the groove right there. So just slide it on over. Make sure it pops in, like so. And then you want to twist it counterclockwise 180 degrees until this little part is going to go past here, right there. Before we do that, we got to slap some other things on here. So we have our wedge, first of all. You see those 2 little fins? You want those going in last. This is going to prevent those 2 jaws from caving in on each other. And if you don't have one of these wedges, if it didn't come with one, then you just got to not tighten down your bolt very much and hope it doesn't strip. So yeah. Kind of pop it in there. You want to just kind of tap it in slowly, like so. Make sure it's centered in. That's how it should look like. There we go. Now you want to grab your little plastic seal bushing. There's also a washer on top of there. You want to grease up, around, everywhere on that. Pop it in, nice and good. You want to grab your bolt and screw it on. And you want to tighten it down just a little bit, not too tight. Okay, so now your cage should look something like this. It should be in this exact position. You want to grab it, and you want to turn it counterclockwise until this little hole passes that ridge again, as I said earlier. Just grab it, turn it. Should be able to pass the parallelogram pretty easily. This one could be kind of hard because there's not much to grab onto. So leave it there, grab your pin, have it on standby, and screw it in. Okay, so now just make sure this bolt is nice and snug, and it should move all nice and smooth now. Okay, so now we're moving on to this pivot right here. The reason I'm doing this after is because you can't get it past this little fin right here. And it seems intimidating, but it's really not that difficult. I'll show you how to do it. So first thing you want to do is lube up this pivot right here. You want to put some chain oil or something down there just to keep it nice and lubricated and spinning, smooth. Then you want to grease up this area nice and good. The spring's going to go on there. So now put the spring on. Doesn't matter where you put it right now. Go out like this, and then you want to pop it into one of those little fins there. I'm going to put it in the middle one right here just to be safe. It doesn't matter which one you put it in. Just leave it there for now. Make sure it's engaged all the way like that. So now in order to put tension on this spring, this relies on a stopper, which is right here. You can take it out if you want, but I just left mine in. Make sure if you took it out, put it back in right now. It's gonna be a lot easier this way. Mine was stripped, so it's staying in there for a long time. Now this cage, this fits with that nut right there, as you can tell. And yeah, the stopper rests on the edge right there. So what we want to do, find the stopper. If we put it right here, it's going to be about 180 degrees away from where it rests on the pin. So you want to make sure the cage meshes with that nut right there. But as you can see, we can't put the cage on without putting the pulley on. So we have to put this cage on and the pulley at the same time. Just kind of a bummer, but don't worry. Just put some grease on here and grab your guide pulley, put some grease inside of there. Grab your other steel bushing, put some grease on the inside of that as well. Slide the two together. And grab your seals, slide those on, and then put it inside of here, like so. So yeah, grab your cage, make sure the pulley lines up with that. Pop that in, There we go. Make sure that meshes. You want it about 180 degrees, kind of like what I have it here. That's what I recommend. That's kind of with the same tension as the other spring. Then you want to rotate it again counterclockwise all the way around like this. And so you get here, as you can see, it's hitting that. So you want to kind of lean it over that. You want to kind of pull it over. It can be a little sketchy, but you want to pull it over that and see, and then it goes over, and it stops, and boom, right there. And once you got it popped in, as long as you don't shake it around, it should just stay in tension like this. All right, so now you want to grease up your spring. Just grease it up nice and good right there. Grab your little metal seal. You want this little slot to line up over there on the corner where it pops into that little retainer there. Just pop this in like so, and then grab your bolt and screw it on. There you go. All right, so once you got that bolt screwed on, everything is all dialed in. It's not gonna come loose. So now you can grab your other little nut here and screw it on. And then just use some needle nose pliers to tighten this thing down. You just want it snug, not too tight. There you go. All right, now finally moving on to the tension pulley. Pretty simple here. We have this little notched bolt. Just line it up with the cage here and stick it through like so. And then you want to just grease up this little bolt here. Grab your pulley, grease it up the same way as the guide pulley. Same story. Pop it on. Take off the extra grease. And then we have the other side of the cage right here. And then just screw on the nut. Okay, now it comes time. It's a pretty difficult thing to put this little cable clamp bolt thingy in here. And you want to get the flat part. You see the flat part? It's facing towards the right. You want that facing towards the pinnacle right here. So you want to grab it. You want to undo that limit screw a little bit so you can get it in there. And yeah, just try to slide it in. I'm doing the best to show you. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but. So when you finally get it in, it's supposed to look like this. You want to have it popped in there. Flat part, again, facing towards the pinnacle. And yeah, once you got it in, you can just put the parallelogram down to its normal position, like so. And as you see, it's not gonna come out, so it's all good. And you can grab your nut and just screw it on. All right, so now we got that clamp bolt on there. You want to make sure your pulley's been nice and smooth. These springs are springing nice and smooth. Also lubed up all these pivot points. I put some grease on those springs down there so they don't rust. And yeah, just polish it up with some mothers. And yeah, there you go. Now you got yourself a fully rebuilt derailleur. This is another one of the Mountex cousins, probably like a stepbrother or something. These are really rare. I've never actually seen one of these. So yeah, if you have one, shout out to you. And yeah, I hope you found this video useful in some way. Thanks to everyone who's been subscribing. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.